Alright, welcome to the collection room. I think for starters, we'll probably work our way from right to left. So we'll start with characters. These are just all the cutscenes that we saw throughout the game. So starting with characters, we got Shadow the Hedgehog, of course, the main character of this game. At first glance, Shadow looks like a grim version of Sonic. In fact, he is the ultimate life form created by Dr. Eggman's grandfather, Professor Gerald. The professor was a genius and developed Shadow to have the ability of chaos control, allowing him to warp space-time with the power of a Chaos Emerald. Shadow will use any means necessary to achieve his goals. And we got E123 Omega. Omega is the last and strongest of Dr. Eggman's E100 series of robots. He seeks revenge for being sealed away and unused. His rampage is meant to prove he is the strongest of all. He is heavily armored, and his massive arms contain a wide variety of weapons that can cycle in to replace his hands. Big the Cat. A gentle giant with surprising hidden strength. He enjoys eating, sleeping, and fishing. He lives a carefree life in the great outdoors with his best buddy Froggy. However, if his friends are in trouble, he'll do his best to help them out. Maria Robotnik. Maria is the granddaughter of Professor Gerald and cousin to Dr. Eggman. She's plagued by chronic illness, but that doesn't diminish her courage and her loving heart. She was sent to the Ark for treatment and grew up alongside Shadow. She dreamed of one day being cured and returning to the Earth she loved and missed so much. However, she was lost to a tragedy, and now Shadow carries on her wish for the world. And then Professor Gerald Robotnik. The greatest scientific genius of all time and the creator of Shadow. Unlike his grandson, Dr. Eggman, he was driven by benevolent ambitions. He designed the space colony Ark and a variety of devices that could use the Chaos Emeralds. However, some of his top secret research went haywire, resulting in a catastrophe. This resulted in the military's intervention, the tragic loss of Maria, and Gerald's arrest. We got Orbot, a robot attendant to Dr. Eggman. He's intelligent, proper, and follows orders faithfully. However, his sarcasm can get on Dr. Eggman's nerves. He often has to correct the mistakes of his companion, Cubot. Which is right here, Cubot. A robot attendant to Dr. Eggman. He's friendly and laid back, but not as bright as his counterpart, Orbot. He's extremely loyal, but lacks initiative, and always waits to be given orders, which frustrates Dr. Eggman. Even though Orbot's always picking up his slack, they still get along very well. We can take a look at Shadow's history. Starting with Sonic Adventure 2. Shadow began his life aboard the Ark with his creator, Professor Gerald, and grew up alongside the professor's granddaughter, Maria. Gerald had created Shadow to be the ultimate life form, among other secret reasons. One fateful day, the Gun military executed a cover-up operation, resulting in Maria's death and Gerald's execution after his arrest. Shadow was captured and put into stasis. 50 years later, Dr. Eggman, Gerald's grandson, broke into the military vault to free Shadow and use him as his ultimate weapon. Shadow agreed to help, secretly driven by an intense desire for revenge. Shadow's true goal was to assemble the Chaos Emeralds to power the Eclipse Cannon, a space-based weapon capable of destroying the world. However, Sonic and his friends stood in his way. After a fierce battle, the threat of the Eclipse Cannon was neutralized. However, a backup plan was activated. Professor Gerald's posthumous confession was played for everyone, revealing he tampered with Shadow's memories and the Ark itself. He wanted revenge on the whole world for Maria's death. With the Eclipse cannon disabled, the Ark was set on a crash course with the Earth. Sonic and the others hurried to avert the catastrophe. Amy Rose pleaded with Shadow to get him to help, and her words awakened his true memories, that Maria wanted the people of the world to be safe and happy. Shadow raced to aid Sonic in saving the world. After an epic struggle, the Earth was safe, but Shadow had disappeared. Where we move on to Shadow the Hedgehog. With no memory or purpose, Shadow had lost all interest in the Earth and humanity. His search for direction was interrupted as the Earth was invaded by the Black Arms, aliens from the Black Comet. Their leader, Black Doom, appeared before Shadow and ordered him to collect the Chaos Emeralds. Shadow felt no loyalty to Black Doom, but assumed he would have answers to his past, so he set out to find the emeralds and regain his memory. Throughout his efforts, Shadow remembered his promise to Maria to protect the world. He also learned that Professor Gerald had used Black Doom's DNA to create him, not as a loyal soldier, but as the ultimate weapon to defeat the aliens. In a desperate final struggle, Shadow used the Chaos Emeralds to become Super Shadow, defeat Black Doom, and end the alien invasion. With his original mission complete, he desired to put his past behind him. Where we move on to Sonic Heroes. Rouge, a treasure hunter and spy, broke into one of Dr. Eggman's secret bases in search of great treasure. To her surprise, she found Shadow sealed in a stasis capsule and Omega. Once Shadow was awakened, he had no memory of recent events. He wanted to find Dr. Eggman and get answers. Rouge still wanted to find Dr. Eggman's treasure, and Omega wanted revenge for being sealed away. United by a common goal, the three agreed to work together and hunt down Dr. Eggman. During the hunt for Dr. Eggman, Shadow was reunited with Sonic and came across androids that looked just like him. Shadow began to wonder if he was truly himself or another one of these copies. At the end of their adventure, Rouge accessed Dr. Eggman's vault. Instead of treasure, she found hundreds of androids. She too wondered if the Shadow she rescued was a copy. However, Omega pointed out all of these androids would have had to have been copied from the original. Shadow set out to find his own answers and a new meaning for his existence. We move on to Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic 06. Shadow and Rouge were commissioned by Gunn to steal an artifact, the Scepter of Darkness, from Dr. Eggman. During a confrontation, the relic was broken, releasing the time-traveling spirit Mephiles. Mephiles took on a new form by inhabiting Shadow's shadow. He then banished Shadow and Rouge to 200 years into the future. Shadow witnessed a burning apocalypse and his own future self sealed away. Mephiles revealed humanity, blamed Shadow for the downfall of Earth, and imprisoned him. Mephiles offered Shadow a chance to get revenge on the world, but Shadow rejected him. Shadow eventually found his way back to the present day. He planned to reconstruct the Scepter of Darkness and seal Mephiles once more. However, Mephiles had grown too powerful after taking Shadow's form, and could not be contained. Eventually, Mephiles realized his ultimate ambition and was reunited with Iblis. Together, they became the time-destroying god Solaris. Shadow, along with Sonic and Silver, used the Chaos Emeralds to obtain their super forms and defeat Solaris. In the end, Solaris was wiped from existence, and Shadow lost all memory of the encounters with Mephiles. Where we wrap up things with Sonic Forces. Shadow invaded one of Dr. Eggman's bases to look for suspicious activity. Along the way, he defeated the mercenary team Jackal Squad and their leader, Infinite. Shadow easily defeated Infinite, leaving him feeling weak and humiliated. After being implanted with a copy of the Phantom Ruby, Infinite went on to be Dr. Eggman's elite agent. Together, they set about conquering the world and targeting Shadow's allies. Infinite used the virtual reality powers of the Phantom Ruby to create a copy of Shadow and used it to fight Sonic. Shadow eventually intervened, destroying the Phantom copy and joining Sonic's efforts to liberate the world. He was in the front lines, helping lead the charge to defeat Dr. Eggman's Phantom army and save the world. And that there is Shadow's history across the games. Alright, I'm probably going to spend about roughly 5 seconds on each picture, and if you of course want to take a longer look, you can always pause the video. So starting with the Shadow the Hedgehog box art here. And that's everything in the artwork. Unless you count the poster here. Okay. That one's pretty cool. And lastly, we got Gerald's journal to look through. If you want to try reading this stuff for yourself, I'll of course let you pause the video. Try to leave enough time on each page here. So yeah, there's a lot to read, and I mean, if you guys really want that, I'm sure that could end up being its own video, honestly. Let me know in the comments if that's something you really want. It's crazy to think how many pages are missing from this thing still. And there you have it, folks, the entire collection room. I mean, I can kind of like scroll through this other stuff, kind of show also that we have everything. And then we do have all cutscenes. Of course, I had to replay this cutscene because of that whole lost footage ordeal. Thankfully, this segment in the collection room exists. Yeah, we got everything, collectible-wise.